excited to have a really good journalist and a filmmaker here to discuss the latest. It really has been a lot of new developments in the persecution, I'll call it, of Julian Assange. That aside from very short, brief write-ups, has not gotten a lot of attention in the mainstream media. Joining us is Kevin Gotstola. Hope I'm pronouncing it right. I always get it wrong. With Shadowproof, as well as Gabriel Shipton, a filmmaker who's done a lot of work on Julian Assange. But I wanted to start first with kind of a, to me, very important, dare I say, smoking gun. That kind of the main witness that the United States has been elevating in terms of trying to show a pattern of Julian Assange supposedly hacking government databases. This witness basically admitted in Iceland that he made the whole thing up, but it's been crickets from the mainstream media and, of course, the Biden administration.
Can you give the 3-sentence kind of summary of the latest update for folks who haven't been following?
Gabe, did you want to?
Yeah, he's a key witness in the prosecution's case relating to the conspiracy to commit computer intrusion. He was his accusations were to bolster the conspiracy to commit computer intrusion charge. He was accusing Julian of asking him to hack, basically. And he's since recanted that and provided chat logs that show that those statements are provably false.
Can you kind of walk the audience through, because Kevin, if you don't know, covered the hearing in the United Kingdom for weeks, waking up at 4 a.m. in the U.S., one of the few journalists that was actually allowed to observe it and report on it. Can you kind of describe for the audience what is the significance of this witness who has openly said he did not work with Assange to hack anything?
Yeah, so first, I just want to give a lot of credit to Bjartmar Alexanderson. He's the journalist behind this report for Stunden, which was published under the headline that this was a key witness who's basically contradicting these allegations, these hacking allegations that were brought against Julian Assange, that were put into an indictment. And because we don't have solid media coverage of the Assange case, it's probably confusing to people who don't follow it closely. But back on June 24th, 2020, there was another indictment issued. There were no additional charges, but that new indictment contained fresh hacking allegations that blindsided the legal team who were preparing and knew that in a couple months they had to be ready for an extradition trial. But now all of a sudden, how are we supposed to get witnesses? How are we supposed to get people who can contest these claims that are being made about Assange helping to hack into Icelandic agencies or Icelandic banking institutions? And the source for these allegations was someone called Ziggy Thordarson, who Alexanderson, this journalist, contacted and talked to. And the crazy thing about the story isn't even what we learned from Thordarson about, it's not solely what we learned from Thordarson about what he has to say about Assange. It's the fact that he's involved in doing con artist schemes against companies in Iceland right now, which Bjartmar Alexanderson contacted him to talk to him about, because he's basically taking goods and then selling them back to companies. And he's got these like elaborate embezzlement schemes that he's been engaged in, while he also has this immunity deal with the FBI that protects him from the FBI passing on incriminating information to Icelandic authorities to come after him. So, there's a lot of detail we can get into about Ziggy, but I think what's really important to understand about these allegations from Ziggy is that he contradicted all of his claims about what he was sourced to. So the indictment, when you read it, it says teenager 1. Well, actually, Ziggy's actually close to 30 years old now, so he's not a teenager at all. And But when you read through the indictment, you see teenager 1, and it refers to a NATO country, and that's Iceland. And it says that Assange was trying to hack into the MPs to get phone recordings, suggests that he's targeting an Icelandic bank. What we learn is that everything that Ziggy has to say basically contradicts this, because Assange never asked for these recordings, never asked him to hack into any MPs' electronic devices, and that this actual bank that is supposedly was targeted, the file that we're talking about was a whistleblower file that every journalist had, and they were trying to decrypt it because they knew it likely had material related to the Icelandic banking collapse, this major event that everyone dug into back in the late 2000s. That was also part of the global economic crisis that took place then. And, we had our own recession as well. So I will say that something people should understand before Gabe gets in here. One thing people should really understand is that these allegations aren't actually tied to new charges, and there were no new charges. And actually, Ziggy's claims aren't really connected to any specific charge. They were just added to help the prosecutors promote this image of Julian Assange as a hacker and not a journalist, to create that false impression that would persuade the judge to authorize the extradition request.
And can I just ask you, Gabriel, because unless I'm read the story wrong in the Icelandic publication, it seemed to me that the FBI also either coerced this witness or helped egg him on to tell this tale. The FBI flew to Iceland several times. What was the FBI's role, as far as you know, in dealing with this witness and kind of ignoring his criminal record, shall we say?
Well, I mean, the FBI flew to Iceland. I think there were 6 agents in Iceland at the time. Back in 2010, when WikiLeaks started first releasing, all the material that Julian has been prosecuted for, the Chelsea Manning revelations. There was a group of FBI agents there, and the Icelandic Interior Minister got wind of what they were doing. I think he said that they were spinning a web, a trap to try and entrap Julian. And the Icelandic Interior Minister got wind of what the FBI was doing and actually ejected them from Iceland. So, he found out that they were there and asked them all to leave. So, the FBI is, was working to entrap Julian during this period. I think, what's really clear about this, this really goes to the heart of how weak this conspiracy to commit computer intrusion charge is. That the DOJ needs to get, have witnesses with Torderson's record. He's obviously compromised, but they've been able to ignore that because this is just an example of exactly how weak that charge is that they need to bolster it with people, compromised people like Torderson, who they have to offer immunity to. They have to pay. He was paid $5,000. It's just, it just goes to the heart of how, just the weakness of this indictment and how it will just now start to unravel.
And also, just to point out, in America, it doesn't always happen, but often years after somebody's been wrongly imprisoned, when it comes out that a witness lied, typically that starts the engines of releasing the prisoner who's been wrongfully convicted. But in this case, you can't even get the mainstream media to report on it, much less any discussion about, hey, maybe we should drop this because this thing has more cracks. And now, obviously, a clear, lying witness attached to it.